Things that make no sense about work. And I feel that once you start working, you realise that logic just gets thrown away, and it's all to do, well, obviously with company policy, which doesn't apply logic to anything. So here are the 3 things that really annoy me about work. The first thing is you're not allowed a sealed bottle on the shop floor. Now, if you work fast food, you'll probably get like these tiny little courtesy cups. I mean, you could fucking pour like whiskey in there, do a shot, and you wouldn't even get drunk. They're that small. But that's not what this is about. Basically, I bought a 2-litre bottle of cream soda onto the shop floor at McDonald's, which is where I work. And they told me I'm not allowed to have that bottle. So I said to them, but we're allowed courtesy cups, which I just told you about, which aren't sealed. And they said, yeah, but it's a safety thing. But I said, well, surely a sealed bottle is a lot more safe than an open container. And then they go, yeah, well, when you have a courtesy cup, the rule is you drink it in the bev cellar area. And I said, well, no one does that. And they said, yeah, well, that's what you're meant to do. So essentially they're saying it's a rule that's never enforced until it suits me to enforce it, and then it becomes a rule. But it's kind of a separate side rant, which I didn't include in this video, but we'll go on it. How is that a rule? Think about it. A rule has to be enforced at least somewhat consistently. Managers take their courtesy drinks to the vats, to the grills, trainers, crew members like myself, never an issue. Literally, managers will ask you in the kitchen, oh, will you get me a drink of this or this, please? So it's not a rule because you never enforce the rule. So I don't get why we're not allowed just a bloody sealed container, a bottle, because that would make logical sense, right? Of course, it's like safety issues, it's really not. But I said that to them. I said, well, how can it be a rule if no one ever does it? And of course their reason was, yeah, it's just the way we do things, it's policy. In other words, managers rarely have actual answers on why things are done. They just follow the policy because the policy's there and never challenge it. I mean, what? You should be able to challenge policy. Policy should be able to change, especially when it makes no sense. I mean, fair enough if you're bringing in a bottle with no lid inside and it's 2 litres. I guess that would somewhat make sense. But a sealed bottle of cream soda, on the front counter, mind you, not even in the kitchen, not allowed. Make that make sense. I'm sorry, that one really annoys me. It's a small thing, but it just never makes sense to me. The second thing that I hate, that makes no sense whatsoever, is having to call in to tell them you're sick, because a text message is not allowed and you will face, what is it, like punishment or whatever, sanctions, consequences, whatever they call it. Now this happened to me not long ago. I messaged a manager because we have an app for McDonald's with all your managers on from the store, so you can message them, right? So I messaged my manager, not going to be in today, sick, whatever. And then the next day on the group chat, another manager says, if you are sick, you have to call the store, otherwise the absence will be unauthorised and it will go down as a no-show, which means you didn't inform the place of work that you're not coming in, which of course, understandably, leads to sanctions. What isn't understandable is, why have an app at work with all your managers on if you can't even tell the manager that you're sick? I mean, it makes no sense. Nobody throwing up is thinking, I'm going to call my work for 5 minutes, have them ask me a bunch of questions whilst my head's over the toilet. Makes no sense. Furthermore, why doesn't a text message count? I mean, they argue that, they might not see it, but that's not my fault. That's the manager's fault. Think about it. Your job is to manage the store, manage the crew trainers. That's your job, not mine. A text message is quicker, it's more convenient when you're sick, and it's also just the first thing people think to do. So, I just really don't understand it, and I think it just quite honestly comes down to a lack of, just a lack of work ethic from managers. I mean, check your messages, and simple as. And there's not really much to add to this one. It just really annoys me because, once again, it makes no sense. Like, let me text you. If you don't read it and you don't find cover, that's your fault. And a little side rant on this one. They say you have to give at least 2 hours notice. Otherwise, it's not allowed. Now, my thing is, I woke up for work. I felt fine. Started throwing up once I'd already gotten ready with an hour and a half until work. How is that my fault? How are people meant to control when they throw up? I mean, what about if you throw up on the bus to work, on the way to work, or just before you walk into work, or whatever? I mean, how are you going to give 2 hours notice? And then how are you going to be punished because you didn't give 2 hours notice? It just makes no sense. No sense. The third thing that annoys me about work, this might be more specific to like food and hospitality jobs, but I'm sure other jobs definitely have this, is everybody stressing out in a rush like it actually means anything. So tomorrow I'm on, 12:30, 8:30 on a Friday. I just know it's going to be a rush, it's going to be busy. And the fact that we're busy doesn't stress me, it's the other people stressing that stress me. Because I look at it like this, right? We get paid the same no matter what. In my job, I don't get paid more if I bag 50 orders an hour versus 2 orders an hour. There's no incentive for me to push myself harder because I don't get rewarded for working harder. Now, a little story time actually. This is a good story time. Me and 2 other people were bagging orders for deliveries. I was talking, as I always do. I always talk, I always try to have a laugh because, I don't want to be in a bad mood all day at work. And one of the managers moans at us for going too slow. I say something. And one of the girls who was there goes really bitchy and goes, yeah, well, he's right, these delivery drivers are waiting. And I said, well, I don't get paid more for bagging the orders quicker. That's not my fault. And on top of that, we were in a massive rush. And I was bagging orders for hours and hours, going quick. I don't slack off at my job, but I don't push myself over the limit, if that makes sense. So anyways, I tell her that I'm not getting paid more for bagging these orders. And she goes, yeah, but the delivery drivers, they get paid based on speed. I just look at her and I say, how's that my fault? They picked that job. If they don't want a job that requires them to go quick to get paid, don't work that job. That's not my fault. My responsibility isn't their wage. My responsibility is my wage. Simple as that, really. My thing is, if I was paid more because I bagged 50 orders in an hour, of course I'd be bagging hundreds of orders an hour if possible. But the fact I would get paid the same as someone who bags 1 order an hour makes no sense. Where is my incentive to work harder if the pay just isn't there? It makes no sense. Also, another side rant. People like that really annoy me who deep their jobs and take it. So I've got hair on my face and who take it really seriously and start panicking and all this stuff in a rush. It's like McDonald's makes billions. They do not pay you much. I think our pay is 12 something an hour. They do not pay you enough to move out and go live alone and cover all bills. They don't pay you enough for that. They don't care about you enough. So why are you panicking because a manager's panicking? And I think the thing people forget is these managers, they're so focused on times and all this stuff. And I didn't know this till recently, to be fair, because they get bonuses for like good times and stuff. We don't get the bonus. We don't get an extra bit of money in our paycheck. But these managers stressing about food waste, about times on the screens, customer satisfaction, all that stuff. They get a bonus. We don't get a bonus. So why are you working extra hard for a manager who's making you work extra hard so they can get a bonus whilst you get left with no bonus? I mean, come on. It makes no sense. So if you take your job seriously, get a grip, mate, because it's not that serious and you're not getting a bonus. And it's just as simple as that, really. I'd say they're the 3 things, at the moment anyway, that really annoy me about work, because they just don't make any logical sense. And I know I keep going on, but people stressing about the job makes me stress, but the job itself doesn't make me stressed. I just can't stand people who keep stressing about the job, because I don't get it. Like, tell me why you stress about McDonald's. Like, why do you care if someone's waiting for 5 minutes? Another side one. We had no apple pies left. We needed to take an apple pie. I had none left, so I needed to put some down. So I shouted, oh, we're waiting full time on pies. A crew member goes, oh, great, we're waiting 5 minutes on pies. And I was already pissed off this day, so I shouted back, oh no, they'll have to wait 5 minutes. I mean, I'm not doing it to, be a prick. But at the same time, if you don't think 5 minutes for a full meal is fast food, then go and cook at home and make it quicker yourself. Like, I don't want customers because I don't want to be busy at work. I want to go in, get paid for doing nothing, hop out. If we're busy, we're busy. I'll do my job. I'm good at my job. I'm quick at my job. But I'm not also going to burn myself out over bloody McDonald's. Speaking of, tomorrow I'll be doing a day in the life of a McDonald's worker. Woo! It's probably not going to be that exciting because I'm not allowed to record on the shop floor, but still, we'll do updates, what I'm doing in the morning, whatever. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you've got any, I don't know, like things that annoy you, let me know. But yeah, these are the three main things that just really, really don't make sense.